Meetings such as this can be heard electronically, so we're live streaming right now on YouTube. And the House bill, just so you know, will remain in effect through the end of July of next year. And it gives us the right to have residents present at the meeting, up to 10 people. And it gives us the right to have questions come through the live stream as well, in testimony or questions about this matter. And as we previously mentioned, it gives the public body the ability to attend the hearing. So I wanted to get that statement out there. Additionally, we may have some testimony, and we may have received some letters or emails from residents pertaining to this evening's hearing. The hearing is for Joanne Cubison, a resident at 17000 Egbert Road in Walton Hills. Joanne is asking for a 6-foot variance to construct a 24 by 38 accessory building in the rear of the property and appealing the village codified ordinance 126607 subsection F subsection 1, minimum side lot setback of 20 feet. The proposed accessory building is replacing an existing accessory building currently located on the property. As I mentioned to Ms. Cubison on the phone, we don't have a full board present. We are lacking one board member, and ask your permission to proceed if that's okay. That's okay. Mr. Secretary, could you please review the data for this hearing?
This hearing pertains to the appeal of Joanne Cubison, 17000 Egbert Road, Walton Hills, Ohio. On November 10th, 2020, the Village of Walton Hills received an undated zoning permit application reflecting the following description of work: build a pole barn for storage. On November 11th, 2020, Rob Kalman, Building Inspector, Street Commissioner, did not approve the construction of the pole barn since it would be located 14 feet from the property line. Walton Hills Codified Ordinance 126607 F1 requires detached accessory buildings and garages shall maintain a 20-foot side yard setback. Notification of the Wednesday, December 16th, 2020 at 6 p.m. hearing was mailed to 21 residents, interested parties. Due to the COVID-19 stay-at-home order, this hearing will be on YouTube. On-site inspections conducted by Mr. Rich on 12/10/2020, Ms. Workman on 12/14/2020, Mr. Pollack on 12/4/2020, Mr. Johansson on 12/11/2020.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Mr. Secretary, would you please read the ordinance in question one more time?
Schedule 12660407 permitted accessory structures in front, side, and rear setback. 1266.07 F1 detached accessory buildings, including garages, are permitted in the rear yard with a side lot setback minimum of 20 feet.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. The next part of the meeting is when persons that want to testify for the variance or against the variance need to sign in on a witness list and get sworn in. So we'd like to do that for anybody that wants to speak. Please sign the witness list, and Ms. Workman will swear you in. That means Joanne, and if Paul's going to say anything as well, please sign the witness list, and we'll swear you in. And because the meeting is being recorded, if you would, before you speak, just state your name and address, so we have that on record. Thank you.
Would you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony given or statements made at this hearing are to the best of your knowledge, truthful and factual, so help you God?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Workman. The next part of the meeting is anyone who wishes to speak, please come before and speak into the microphone and let us know why you would like to have this zoning variance. Guess that's it.
My name is Joanne Cubison. I reside at 17,000 Egbert Road, Walton Hills. I'm asking for this variance. The structure that is there now has been there since my dad had it built. I want to say it's probably since 1980, from as far as back as I could remember. The structure that we would like to build is a little bit larger. We want to store vehicles, motorcycles, a little larger. We can't move it to the west because of the pond. We thought about moving it, building the structure in the back of the pond, but we'd have to take down trees, and I don't want to take down any more trees. We've already lost enough with the ash borer. And with the way the water and everything is in the backyard, I don't even want to go, start with that. So since there's already a concrete base and we know that where it is now, it's in a safe space. That's why we've decided to put it there. And we're just asking for the variance because we're closer, to the property line of our neighbor next door. So that's why I'm asking for the variance.
All right, thank you. Anybody else like to speak? Anybody else for the variance?
He said what I said. No, I wouldn't say. I have pictures of what the structure, what we're thinking about, if you want to see that.
Yeah, that would be pertinent to the discussion because I'm sure we'll ask the question. Thank you.
So what's there now looks like a barn.
Yeah.
And it's red, and I really like that. It's kind of like, it kind of keeps to what my dad had there. So the top picture is really what I like because it looks like a barn, and I think that I would want to keep it red because the barn is red, and what's there now is a red barn. So I think I'm kind of leaning towards that.
Rob, do you need to see it?
I see two, one with a gambrel roof and one with a gable roof. Which one are you doing?
The gambrel.
The gambrel roof?
I mean, we're not positive.
Yeah, it's-
We're still trying to decide. I mean, we didn't know to really.
They just had to bring an example of,
Yeah.
so that's kind
Okay.
of.
And then, overall height,
I think,
We want a second floor.
I think
We
Jeff
want a
said the
second
height
floor
was
for storage.
21 feet.
20.
20? Okay, then
Yes.
20, yeah.
Right.
Because I think right now, is it 18 or 19?
Close.
Yeah, it's close to that, because you could stand up on the second floor now.
Okay.
These are examples of potential models.
Joanne, could you just step up? Okay, I just got a couple questions to ask you. The dimensions as you set out in your letter to the board are the same, or are they different now?
The same,
They're the same, okay.
Mhm.
And,
That's just 24 by 38?
yes,
okay, 24 by 38, and 38 would go north-south,
yes,
24
correct.
east-west?
Yeah, I don't have the room with the pond, I can't, there's nothing I can do about it.
And the doors would be facing the road?
Yes,
Sorry, Ed, I didn't,
No, that's,
you had more
that's the
questions?
only
that's where,
questions I-
yeah, that's, the doors face the road now, so I would keep that the same.
So the foundation you currently have is concrete,
Correct.
and would you split that up, or would you just add to it?
We'd probably remove it completely and redo it.
Okay?
Yeah, because I think I would want it to be one, so you know what I mean, to kind of keep it as one, so
Okay.
it'd be even.
Mhm.
I think that would be more structurally sound, no.
Mhm.
At this time, if you
I'm not a
just-
builder, so I don't
Just
know.
stay there, if you would, please. I'd like to read into, for the record, this is based upon a telephone conversation I had with Paul Schwind, your next door
the
neighbor.
neighbor, mhm.
Okay. I'd like to have this, I told him that if he couldn't make it, I would read this into the record, okay? On December 15th, 2020, I had a telephonic conversation with Paul Schwinn, 17030 Egbert Road. Schwinn indicated he did not oppose the construction of the accessory building nor oppose the ZBA granting a side lot variance. He did have major concerns pertaining to possible drainage issues. He wanted to know how this would be addressed. I advised that Rob Coleman would most likely address this concern when a building plan was submitted. Schwinn advised that Rob is well aware of the drainage issues in the area. We discussed the ZBA hearing to take place on December 16th, 2020, and the COVID-19 restrictions and options.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. We're hearing a variance, is what we're hearing, a 6-foot variance. So we're going to stay in our lane, and that's where we're going. Okay?
Well, currently where the barn is now,
Yeah.
there is no water. So we talked to Paul last night, and where that water is nowhere where we're constructing it. And where we're putting it would not affect the water that he's talking about. So, I mean, and I think that I showed you when you were there too, where that water was. So where the barn is literally 3 feet up where that is. So even where we put the barn, it doesn't affect that at all. That water has been there since my parents have built that house. That water's, I mean, and that barn has been there forever. You know what I mean? So it's, the new barn will have nothing to do with that, because it's just a fact of, that's the way the land is laid. I mean, I have a natural spring-fed pond. There's a spring in the woods. There's a spring coming from Spitznagel's yard. I can't control that. So, I mean, I don't, you know.
I didn't ask him this question, but I think there may be a concern is that you're going to have a large roof area.
Mm-hmm.
Is this going to be going down into gutters that will be going where?
Well, he currently has a drain right at the base of, well, down that 3-foot hill. There's a drain there where he told us that we could put, you know, a gutter system into that drain, which then goes into his pond, that goes through his pond to a sewer system, or like whatever the drain goes through to the sewer to the street. So we would probably feed it in there. I do not want it to go into my pond because there's fish in there. I don't want fertilizer or, you know what I mean, or any kind of that stuff drained into the pond, because it's, you know, I don't want to, you know, I don't want that kind of, I try to take care of it, you know, and I don't want algae and all that kind of stuff, you know, going in there. I want to kind of keep it spring fed, so I want to kind of keep it that way. So I don't want that, I don't want to, you know, send it that direction. So I'd rather, if I could hook into, you know, his drain that he put in there, I would rather, you know, do that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
his drain's on my property. So, you know, he did that without asking. So I could very, you know, I could, you know, hook into that very easily, because it would be literally probably maybe, what, 3 or 4 feet from where the edge of where the barn would be. So,
I think obviously we would want to do everything.
Could we come up to the mic so we can get you on live? Thank you.
Paul Solonix, 12125 Hotchkiss Road, Burton. I had spoken with Paul regarding this whole drainage issue, and you know, we're aware of the water situation that we have in the back. And, you know, I think Paul's concern is that water's flowing into his pond. And it's always gone that way. And he's concerned about, you know, again, roof area, drainage from the gutters, where would that go? And obviously, we'll work with the city to figure out a solution to whatever we need to do to figure out the drainage. both parties are happy with that. Obviously, we get along with Paul, every time I'm over there. I mean, he's a good neighbor, so we'll work something out. I don't know if that's legal to be able to tie in that way. I think the question I would have is, if we were going to go further, I assume that, if we were going to go further, maybe there's an option that we can appeal to the city to provide some type of connection point in that area, an easement or something like that. So I don't know if that's a possibility, but I think long-term, that might be a way to solve that solution through that area, because there's a lot of drainage that comes from the west, through the back, and into that area. So I know those are Paul's concerns about when you get heavy rains and it floods through there, that, it overloads his pond there. And he's tried to take measures to try to control that water from going further into Deke's property as well. So, he's done what he can to try to control that. And I think he's worried that anything that we do would add to his dilemma there. So, that's probably a discussion for another place, but
Right.
Yeah. Rob?
Yes, that's a discussion for another time. When you submit your building plans, submit the drainage plan with it. Again, it'll be reviewed at that point in time. Tying into a drain that drains across property lines is never really embraced. But I would just submit a drainage plan at that time.
Okay.
And we'll discuss that.
Would you
further.
come out and look at it first? Because like I said, the drain that he installed is on my property,
Right.
so I couldn't tie into his illegal
So
drain.
to keep this hearing very short.
Should I say that?
yeah.
To keep this hearing very short, I'm dealing with two residents on another street in this village currently right now that had great neighbors. And I'm dealing with this issue right now. They had great neighbors. Now they have new neighbors. And now that pipe exists, and what it was a homeowner that split a lot and let somebody build next door. Great neighbors, it was family, then great neighbors. Now this neighbor is threatening to block the pipe off because it goes in his yard. So as a village, we really can't, as
Right.
an administration, we can't endorse any type of drainage of that fashion. That's why I said just submit the drainage plan, we'll review it, and we can discuss it at that point in time. And I'd say the first hurdle is the variance. Let's start there.
Okay.
Thank you. Any further questions? Wayne, Billy, Ed? Sarah, do we have any residents out there who have any questions in this matter?
No questions.
No questions? I know the board's asked a few. We normally go into a short recess at this time. Do you feel there's a need to do that at this time? So if not, we'll just get into the vote. How's that? Ed?
Mr.
did you have a
Chairman?
comment? Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion that a 6-foot variance is granted, resulting in a 14-foot setback from the side lot property line.
I would second the motion.
The motion was made by Mr. Pollock for a 6-foot variance for a 14-foot side lot permission, and it was seconded by Ms. Workman. I guess we'll vote on the motion. Mr. Johansson?
I vote yes.
Ms. Workman?
I vote yes.
Mr. Pollock?
Yes?
And I vote yes. So the motion's passed, the variance passed. The variance is approved. The approval is good for 90 days, okay? So you must submit the necessary paperwork for the permits within a 90-day period. And I would suggest probably in the next 4 or 5 days, once the paperwork gets through the system, I would think by next Tuesday, if that's correct, we'd be able to get permits for this approval. What do you think, Mr. Common? That's close to Christmas, so
I would say, because you guys don't have building plans yet, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So I would say Typically, on a building of this size, we could turn a review around in approximately a week. So, as far as construction plans go, so once you have your construction plans, submit them to the front desk here, and we'll put them under review.
Okay. Think you could get that done in within the 90-day period?
Oh, no.
Okay, because what we'd have to do is we'd probably have to come back and have another renewal. Okay, so, and I realize we're up against holidays and things like that, but if you're confident, that's good. Other than that, do I have a motion to adjourn the hearing? Is there a motion?
I make a motion to adjourn the hearing.
Is there a second?
I second.
Motion was made by Mr. Johansson to adjourn the meeting at 6:25 and seconded by Ms. Workman. A vote, Mr. Johansson?
Yes.
Ms. Workman?
Yes.
Mr. Pollack?
Yes.
And I vote yes. So, thank you. Thank you. Meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good luck.